Hey guys, NanMan here, and I'm back with another video. This one's going to be a little bit different. This is kind of a tutorial how-to video. As you can see, I've got two mountains, full art ones, from original Zendikar and our Battle from Zendikar, just to show you a little bit of difference with their border on the bottoms here. But what this video is going to be how to annoy your opponents with your deck. Essentially, it's how to white border your cards, because it's something I like. White border cards. I love the old school classic lands with their white borders. You know, the super rude cards like Blood Moon and Choke. I make sure mine are white border just to add a little bit of more insult to injury there. But I wanted to show you kind of what I'm doing. Some people like to white border their lands or make sure they have white border lands for the fact that they get to find them easier in their deck when they're sitting there shuffling through and searching for their lands. They can find those pretty easily. So I've already started doing a couple of white border stuff. Here's all of my islands that I've been white bordering for my fish deck. I like them in the white cases too. It just kind of adds a little bit more depth to their borders there, but I think it looks pretty nice with the islands themselves. Kind of has that nice little feel to it. So all of my islands that are in my fish deck are now white bordered here, and so I'm going to kind of show you how to do it with these mountains real quick. It's a very simple and easy thing that you guys can do. Supplies are pretty straightforward. Painter's tape, pretty good, pretty simple and easy. Erasers, I just picked these up at Target. Make sure they're the white ones and not like those pinkish ones that you normally see. I've used about half of a thing, a little bit more maybe, to finish up my islands. So that can kind of give you an idea of how many cards you want to white border, how many erasers you might need, and that sort of thing. Another thing I was talking about with our newer cards to keep in mind is the border on the bottom is now thicker. Because of the text here, artist information and card number, all that good stuff, has now been placed in black border there. So that is a little bit thicker than the previous version. So just a little thing to note, if you are having different versions of the lands, even if it is the same art, that might be something to factor into. Painter's tape is perfect because it just goes right over the cards, easy to peel off, no problem. So I'll show you just simple. We'll use our kind of our classic one real quick. I like to do my best to try to measure out a good idea of how much I'm going to use. I like to use scissors too to try to keep the lines as straight as possible when cutting the tape off, and then I can do some more adjustments after I've placed them. So this one might be a little bit too short. Let's see what we can do here. I try to line it up by corners, or you can go by the sides, whatever you really feel comfortable with getting it up there. But the objective is to try to get as much of the black border still visible while covering up as much of the picture. You know, whatever ways work out best for you guys to do it. Another recommendation is starting to practice on another card. So let's say you want to try in the mountains, and that's what you want to white border all of your mountains. Well, why don't you go through and get a token or another random common that you're like, I don't really care about, to do a little bit of practicing with, so you can get a good idea of what is the best way for you to be able to hold the cards while you're sitting there and erasing them. Now, this is again something that you're not going to these are cards that you're not really going to flip. No one's really going to want to trade you white border cards. These are something that's part of your collection that you're feeling comfortable enough that you're okay with keeping. Plus, you know, people do not really like white border cards. So I was at regionals for Modern a couple weeks ago now, and on one of the top tables there was a Jund player whose entire deck was white bordered, which I was a big fan of, and I was like, you know what, that is awesome. I'm a fan. The cards are super expensive, and that's like a really big deal to sit there and go through and erase away your cards in a sense. But so as you can see, I've got the two main tapes here. We still got a little bit of border on the bottom. So I'm going to sit there and try to seal that up real quick, and then we can get started with showing you what I usually do for the erasing process. I can line it up properly here. So yeah, I saw the guy at the regionals. So I've got a little bit extra here. If I fold it over, it'll be covering up the black border. So I just got to take my scissors and do a little quick thinning down here. Let's see if that fixes it any. All right, not too bad. A little bit of a messed up corner there, but we can easily adjust that. And what's nice with the painter's tape, it's easy enough to peel up, so if you have too much covered up, you can easily kind of smooth it over with your finger. And I've kind of got it smoothed up a little bit here that I'll be able to fix up very soon. So, getting it all nice and taped up. Cool. We'll get this corner fixed up, get maybe another layer up at the top here, and then we'll be pretty much ready to go. I'm going to try to measure up at least a good portion of it. That should be all right. All right, we're getting it. Alright, so my corner here is a little bit too much from the angle I put it on, so I'm just going to snip it up real quick. Easy peasy. A little bit more. Alright. There we go. Okay, so you can see there's still a little bit of layer in these little snippings that we've been doing. We could just kind of line those up on there, try to cover up as much as we can, because again, that's the whole point of it, is to try to cover up. We don't want to be erasing the picture. That's really what it is. We want to try to erase the border. So alright, that's good enough. Well, you know, you want to try to get as sealed up as you can around the edges. You can see there's a couple spots where it's not perfect. If I had a ruler and stuff, we could sit there and measure it out and do it a proper way. That's another good way to do it, but you know, I'm not trying to be 100% perfect here. So I'm just going to use the eraser that I've had, continue along, because you know, we'll keep going until it's completely wasted. And what you're going to notice is kind of keep an eye on the sides here, because you can see, like, on the sides it is white along here, and that's going to start basically fading through into the card here. And you do have to apply a little bit of pressure when you are doing the erasing, though. And you'll see the shavings start to come off from the card. If they are darker shavings, then that means that you are shaving away from the border, so you're doing it correct. But again, just apply a little bit of pressure here. Shouldn't be too bad before you start seeing some progress on the card's border here. There we go. And again, like I talked about, all these shavings are going to be getting in your way. I like to keep a trash can, so I can just sort of brush these right over into the trash can and not have to worry. But there's kind of what you're going to be looking at. It's smooth to the touch, though, so you're not going to be noticing any significant difference between the card. It is just kind of a little bit of a interesting factor with how it's starting to fade. So the more pressure you put on it, the more you're erasing, the less border that is going to be there. So we're going to continue up, and I like to just go side by side. So I started on this side. We're going to keep going with this side until this one is as white as we would like it to be. cool. Again, all these shavings are going to be here, and that's just kind of what you'll push aside. Get out of the way there so you can keep going. And yeah, as you see, it's going to continue to kind of make progress as it's going across here. And it's depending on how long it's going to take. That's the real question. How long will this take me? Well, if you do a whole bunch, like with the islands, it might take you much longer. So it depends on how many lands you're wanting to white border. If you want to white border other cards, that's great. I would recommend, again, doing some practicing with your lands, with some tokens, with cards like that before you get right into the expensive cards. Because again, you're not going to really be able to flip the cards. Not many people will want to trade you for them or buy them if you have erased your cards. It's not really a thing that you're going to see a lot of players being like, yes, that's a white bordered, foil abrupt decay. I want that now. That's not really what you're going to see. That's really a niche market of people. But I figured this will be a good way to show you guys kind of what to expect when you're going to be doing this. So I'm going to do my best to try to speed it along a little bit to help let you guys get right into it. But again, you need to use painter's tape with it, white eraser, simple and easy. Apply a little bit of pressure when you're sitting here and erasing the borders, and you'll be noticing some quick fading action before it gets to the actual whiteness that you're looking for here. Again, do your best to keep some weight on the card with your other hand, because you don't want to accidentally flip the card's corners, bend them when you're sitting here erasing. So putting the extra pressure on it will help keep the cards in place. So our borders are coming along nicely. Almost done with the top here. There we go. Looking pretty good. Alright, 2 more sides and then we're pretty much done. I'll show you how to peel the tape off, and then you can start sleeving them up, and then you guys can be able to try this at home. Let me know how your decks are looking, if you've opted to white border more than just your lands. What kind of stuff are you doing over there? I'd love to see some videos or pictures of you guys. You can tweet at me at the real NanMan and show me all your white border decks. That would be cool. Again, you're just going to get a bunch of shavings built up, and that just kind of shows you you're doing it right. Again, the darker the shavings, that also tells you that you're doing it correctly. So, if you keep going and going on the white bordered here, you'll eventually just start shaving away the eraser, and it will be pure white pretty much. And I'm bumping into the desk. There we go. Simple, simple, simple. We're looking good. Last side here, guys, and then we're all going to be pissing off our opponents with our white bordered cards, guys. Again, I talked about the difference between the border, that is from the newer cards and the older cards. You will have to fade it, and there will still be the writing on there. So that is something to keep in track of when you're doing new cards like that. Is that you're going to have to kind of adjust where you put the tape. So if you make like a template, like kind of what I have, you can reuse this tape for multiple cards. Just peel it off, stick it back on, and you'll be okay. But if you use the newer cards, the border is going to be different. So just be aware of that if you're kind of just reusing your tape. right. Well, that's kind of a rough idea for this card here. Looking pretty nice with its white bordered. There's still some touch-up stuff we can do down here, and that's something you can do after you peel it away and you notice, oh my gosh, I completely missed that side. Let's retape it and do it. So basically find the bottom layer, the first layer that you put on for tape, which is up here in this corner, and you can just kind of use your fingernail to peel it back, and simple and easy, it peels up. So again, I like to keep it on the table, apply some pressure to the card so it doesn't be bending and having to do all that stuff, and you can just slowly peel it up and away. So I'm going to take my tape, set it aside so we can use it later, but now you get a good idea. So like I talked about, there is some corners, the bottoms, stuff like that. With this sort of speed run, gets you an idea. But then I can sit here and take the tape, if I wanted to, and retape it up here. And we can see, okay, this is definitely the area that we want to refocus on. So boom, reuse the tape, get that corner all fixed. And there, we got it. Again, same sort of thing. Try to keep it down, fold it up, no problem. So that's a rough idea of what you can do to kind of white border your cards. Throw it up in there, looking all pretty with this nice white border mountain. I like the white border with the white sleeves, but I'm sure any sleeve will look nice. Again, this one does need a little bit more touching up, but that's something easy you guys can do. Just kind of replace the tape and keep going to town. But I wanted to kind of give you guys a nice little tutorial so you can get an idea of how to do this at home, and so you can annoy your opponents at FNM or annoy your friends at kind of commander nights and things like that. So good quick tutorial on how to annoy your opponents. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You guys can check me out at The Real NanMan. Subscribe. Check me out on Twitch. I do live coverage of modern events Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, as well as travel around to events and sometimes do vlogs and things like that. So that's a good way for you guys to check out all the stuff that I'll be working on. But thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next game.